That's garlic in with the strawberries. And the napkin cherries. It's a really great place for a picnic. This is one of our new henny pennies. They're so funny. We have no idea what they're laying, but they're beautiful. And she's out looking for bugs because we are in the middle of watering. Okay, this is why I love ducks. Anywhere that you have a lot of water, you're gonna have weeds, and if you have a lot of water and ducks, the ducks with the weeds and the slugs. This duck looked like she murdered somebody. It's just mud, but it does look like she murdered somebody. Are you ready to help me? We're gonna get some work done? Are we excited?
Sort of.
Sort of.
They're very heavy boards.
They're very heavy boards, but at least they'll be used up, right?
Yep.
We won't have a lumber pile anymore. Okay, so lots of yard work today. This is the hugelkultur. I really wanted to do a greenhouse out by the cabin, but I just don't feel like it's worth the effort when the water is here. So we're gonna build another hugelkultur, let you see how we do it. We need matching pallets and then some good sturdy boards. They can't be bendy. You don't want them to be pressure treated. You don't want them to be too old. You want them to have some structural integrity, but we're gonna go ahead and show you how we build it. And then I'm going to try and turn it into a greenhouse. Can I actually use the structural frame of the hotbed, which is held down by all that log and the compost and everything, to create a cow panel greenhouse. Can I do it? So we're gonna try. Alright, at least for me, when putting together a hotbed, I love to use these little elbows, and the reason is it just kind of holds everything in place while you're trying to get the heavier things put together. Generally, I don't have adult help, I have child help, which means that every cheat, make it a little bit easier really counts. So I use these elbows to secure things at first, and then I pre-drill, and then I screw things in. So the nice thing is you can use old wood and even some bent wood if you use these brackets when you're initially shaping it. And so for those of us who are using secondhand items, or maybe are a little weaker with your tools, you can do a lot. And if you just match your boards up, instead of having to cut them, if you just have boards that are all the same length, that's what we did with this one. Most of these boards were just the same length, so it was easiest to use it. And you can just use secondhand goods. And everything inside here is compost. None of it was purchased. It was old bedding, it was tree limbs, it was old straw, and even the seeds.
It was rotten eggs.
It was rotten eggs, all that kind of thing. And this year we didn't even buy potting soil because we just used really good dirt that had been sitting under the compost bed the whole time. So that's the one that is in the best shape because that's the one that had the best soil. All right, let's start on this side. You guys don't need to hang on them. All you're going to do is hold the boards. Take them, please.
Wow, this thing is heavy. I can
Kind of all the way
top page. You can bring these up to the top so it's fresh.
Are we needing it to the top? Yep.
So, it is really nice to have a bone pile, which means you have a pile of wood that was free or you collected from somewhere and it's not perfect, but it's there when you need it. All right, that's a good one. Go ahead and take it in. That one does have oil on it. It could be treated. but it's going to be on the outside of the bed, not the inside, so it doesn't matter. All right, Kaya, come pull this one out. We're gonna put the tin in. This is from a salvaged calf shed from my father-in-law's, so we're gonna go ahead and put it in. It goes on the inside, which is why it doesn't matter that some of this might be pressure treated. All right, so this is the last one, and we were pretty luxurious when we used our tin. We weren't careful to save it because more than anything we're trying to get it picked up and packed up so it's not on the ground. Now we're going to fill it with sticks and old manure and some straw and some potting soil. And I don't like how this looks, so we'll probably find another 2x4 and put another 2x4 here, here, just like we did on this side. Another one there, and maybe at the bottom. But that's how it looks. The only thing I don't like about this is I do worry about the tin cutting somebody, but in the, I don't know how many years since we've been doing it this way, we've never had anybody get cut, even with renters here. So, there we go. It is not centered to the house. The grow bed is not in line with the house, but it is in line with the other grow bed. So, let's see how it goes. If you are going to put cow panels on it, make sure that the wood you're using is not too old because you are anchoring the cow panel to the wood and it needs to be strong enough. I will be putting actual good screws in here to make sure that it is really solid, not just the little elbows. I just haven't got to it yet because it's too hot out here to film. All right, so now we need to fill in these spaces. If you're using things like pine boughs, and you take all the branches off, they're very straight and they lay in very nicely. In something like this, you can see we got a ton of space in there. We've got kids working, we've got mom not really paying attention, and now we have a lot of space in there. So we're going to try and fill that space in with branches as best we can and some wood. But then we need to put in something smaller like straw to fill in the spaces even more, and then we're going to put on some manure. Okay, so what we have done now is we have a whole bunch of live branches and things, and I'm going to add some manure on top of that, and the reason for that is I want manure littered throughout this so that it'll heat up, it'll kill the weed seeds, and it'll start to decompose. The manure that I'm using is just from the goat barn, and it is just straw and goat manure, and it's been sitting there for a few years. Some of it will be fresher than other, and we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle it in like seasoning. Okay, so you saw that it weighted it down, and that's exactly what we want. We put in the logs, we put in the manure, and we do that to weight it down so that it will sink so we can fit more in. Okay, so I have nothing against straw bale beds. I've made them before. I had I think 3 of them here and then 1 out in the greenhouse. But if I'm going to make a straw bale bed, I'm not going to make it just out of straw bales. I want it in a frame, because as things start to decompose, it's one thing if it's squash, zucchini, watermelon, maybe even potatoes. But if you have anything that has a fine root system and a short lifespan, when those straw bales start to decompose and they start to decompose outwards, the water evaporates and it just starts to crumble, the roots get exposed. On a big squash, generally that doesn't happen because its roots are really well in there, and it's the roots that are holding the straw bale together. But if I'm going to use straw now, I put it in a frame, and that way as it decomposes, it will decompose inward. And I prefer to do straw bales with wood because then the wood makes the bed last longer. So we now have wood, young living wood, straw, and now manure on top, and we're just going to keep layering that, and then once it's all layered and pretty high, I'm going to water it and get it to sink a little bit. Alright, so this is what they look like right now. This is the rabbit garden that we also harvest out of. And then this one has comfrey and squash in it, and the reason for that is that squash is a heavy feeder and it wasn't fully composted. It was kind of half composted, what we put in there. What we put in here was fully composted, and it was already full of the last 3 years worth of limbs and things like that. So all we were doing was putting in a planting medium on the top. So it's doing really well. We didn't even add any fresh rabbit manure. The far one has been in for a week and it's still sinking. So we're going to add another layer of straw, we're going to water it down, and then we're going to see if we can put some, maybe, I don't know what we're going to put in it, we'll see. But this one's doing well. It keeps having squash that were, what's the word? They're coming up on their own. They were in the compost that wasn't fully composted, so they keep sprouting, but we keep freezing, so they keep dying. So we have more summer squash coming up. They're trying. We've replanted some. We're going to put some from the nursery in, and we're going to keep a closer eye on that frost warning. And then today I would like to see if we can get the cow panel up on it. But that far one, it's full of wood, it's full of paper garbage, it's full of straw, it's full of manure, and now we need to add some more and get it watered and see if we can get it to sink again. Yes, sir. I think so. We would love some. Shall I send Kaya over in a minute? Okay. You're not supposed to drink that, you know. Ah, it'll make you go blind. Okay, thanks, Gary. love him?
Tattoo. But we get tattoo every single day.
That is true.
Every
That is very true. All right, so I'm a little worried about your ability to get that in there. So, I know you don't. We're going to lift it up, and what we're going to work on is not killing the plants. And also not hitting the house. So maybe what we'll do is have me on this end and you on this end. And what we're doing is we're bending it in so it makes a hoop over the house, over the Greek garden. Okay? So first off, we're going to lift it up over our heads. Let it lay down. Get out of the way. Go to the end. And lay it. No, wrong direction. This. And you're just going to walk it that way. And then you're going to lay it down inside the bed. All the way to the corner, honey. Inside the bed, not outside. Make sure it fits into the corner. Let go of it. Fit it into the corner. All right, now you're going to hold it in so it can't shoot out. Stand in the middle and push it down. Down further. It's got to be down further.
It's kind of scary.
Hold it down.
Woohoo!
What? What? Cool, huh? What do you think of your mom's invention?
It's good.
Alright, hopefully you guys saw that. This is what I'm trying to do, and I want it to be self-supporting. The reason I care about it is that I want there to be a greenhouse out there you can use that won't blow away in the wind and will heat up in the winter. Alright, I'm going to secure it. Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to mix up some planting medium. Usually I use peat moss, but they had coconut coir at the place I went, and it takes up less space because all you have to do is rehydrate it. So use perlite, some kind of soft carbony thing like peat moss or coconut coir, sand, and you can use compost if you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and let this rehydrate. And what I do is I just move the mulch away in the hotbeds and put the planting medium in and then plant into that. And that way the nitrogen has some time to cool down and decompose before the roots of that plant get to it. So that's your sand. Alright, so at this point I've done some pulling, some thinning, and also I've chopped and dropped my comfrey that's in here to give everything more sunshine. At this point, sunshine is what we need. I also need to cut back my living fence a little bit because it's going to start to shade out the tomatoes. These are volunteer tomatoes that are in here from some that didn't get fully composted in the compost pile. This particular compost pile was half composted. That one over there was fully composted, so that's the difference. We didn't have any volunteers in the other one, just in this one. And then this is the new bed. I do have the potting soil put in now, and I have the hose over the top of it. Most likely what I'll plant here is Swiss chard because it just does really well for us, and it's mature very quickly. I might do some carrots as well. We'll see. But I can't put the plastic on until we're probably well into September, if not October, because we don't get frost until about October, at which point I need to build a frame there that allows a 2x4 to run over the top to support this. I'll build in a door frame here, and then we'll put plastic on it. But even though we get really cold winters, I will have a half door at the bottom there in between the two, so that I can open it and let fresh air in from the bottom, because we have really bright, good sunshine here in the winter, and you can still have plants that are getting overheated over 90 degrees, even if we're 18 below Fahrenheit outside. So there we are. There's the semi-finished product, the summer product, and we will show you the fall and winter product when our weather will allow us. So thanks for watching.